Here are the tiles that came out of our firing. This is them right side up. I tested 2 different base glazes. Mine's on the right, and on the left is this Old Forge Creations base for a floating pink that I'm going to test out soon. And I think the biggest piece of meta information I got from this experiment, this fire, was that I like mine better. I like the one on the right a lot better. It's a little bit creamy, it breaks, it's interesting, it has character, and the other one's kind of flat and dry and transparent and brown and weird. So I'm so happy that I've narrowed it down between these two. Mine's much friendlier, and I've already worked with it a lot. Here's the first piece of information I have about my glazes, which is that, they look good with most of the colors. The cobalt is really strong, and the green is really strong. So from left to right, these are chrome 1%, iron 6%, copper 4%, and cobalt 2%. And I will take those as starting points and do things with them. These are the Old Forge Creations base that I have lots more of. Here's the chrome. These are called intensity line blends when it goes from on the right to least intense to the left, which is the most intense. And so what I did was I chose my very favorites out of these to test on a porcelain base, because you can see, like right here, that cobalt in the bottom middle is really bright and brilliant on white, but they're kind of boring on this dark clay body. So before we throw the baby out with the bathwater, because these are kind of boring, we are going to test it on the porcelain, because I think they're going to look a lot better on porcelain. So I have tiles set up and ready now I've pulled out my favorites of all these, and I'm going to test them on the porcelain. Another thing on the in the realm of not throwing the baby out with the bathwater is that I could increase my colorants. However, I really want to minimize the amount of colorants I use, and from this just simple test, we saw that my glaze just really popped those colorants at low percentages. I'm testing all the oxides at low percentages because it's less expensive. So I'm a cheerleader for this glaze. Look at that gorgeous base glaze, Amy's Awesome Clear. Yay, Amy's Awesome Clear, woo! I didn't formulate it in the first place, but I did kind of test a bunch of clears at one point and choose this one. Yay. Here are my test tiles, and they all have 3 on them because this is for my glaze number 3, which I'm calling Old Forge Creations glaze number 3. And here are all the ones that I pulled out of the Old Forge to retest. And here are my 4 that I would like to go further with my Amy's, the Amy's Easy Clear, or Amy's Awesome, I used to call it Amy's Awesome Clear. So we're working with that one. And this is fun. I have a lot of glazes that are already formulated, but I like this going back to the beginning and really checking them out and doing things with glazes that I've been working with forever. It's just such an exciting concept. So really fun. And I will set up more bisqueware for this, and these will all just get tested here. And so that's where we're at for today. Okay, so here is the next test I'm going to do. I've got all the 3 glazes at their deepest intensity. That's the way I mixed these. So I wound up with 5 buckets, 5 little back things, whatever these are called, containers, of the most intense of these. So if I wanted to dilute it, I would just add back the base glaze, or if I want to test it a little bit more intense, I'll just add some more oxide and see what happens. So here we are. I'm all ready to test A at 2%. So just by my code here, you want to have a code. And I know that 3, it's Old Forge Creations glaze, testing A, cobalt carbonate at 2%, because that's what I wrote here, and that's as strong as I go with cobalt. Here's 3B. I know this is Old Forge Creations glaze B. I'm testing copper carbonate at 4%. and C, and so on. So these tiles will just be these buckets as they are tested on the porcelain, and I'll also do one more round of tests on my Klamath yellow just because I'm doing it, and I'll mark them exactly the same way, and then I will do a second round test, because anything, you might have a whole round of tests and think those were all so ugly, but there's always information. So keep thinking, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, don't ruin these things while you still have them. You put a lot of work into them, so it's good to play with it, do the science, and mix your intelligence and science with creativity, you know, and you can do that. You can overlap glazes, like maybe I'll do some overlapping tests here. Ding, ding, ding. So anyway, I think that that's a great idea. And then I have my other glaze in the back, which I'll do after. It's kind of a lot of work, but hopefully it'll be really worth it. Let's